Hello again. Now, the Khayelitsha Development Forum today engaging with the Minister of Police, Bheki Cele, about the recent spate of killings in the area. 5 people were shot dead on the 14th of this month, and another 6 were gunned down in Enkanini informal settlement in the same township on Sunday afternoon. eNCA reporter Nobesuthu Hejana on the ground following this story for us in Khayelitsha. Nobesuthu, good afternoon. Earlier you spoke to a member of the community. They were expressing their views and the need to bring safety in the community, and they were expecting more officials to be there today in this engagement.
Certainly, Pradan. In fact, that meeting is underway, and I quickly need to speak to the Speaker of the Provincial Legislature, Mr. Masizole Mngasela, because he has to go back to present. Sir, can you just tell us about your role in this particular meeting? I mean, we've seen a number of stakeholders being invited here. As the Speaker, what is your role and what message are you giving to the residents and also those who are inside?
Nobesuthu, I am from Khayelitsha, and I happen to be the Speaker of the Western Cape Provincial Parliament. Now, during the COVID-19, we had a unique role. Myself and one other MP, Richard Gyangi, were asked to convene and coordinate the interventions on COVID-19, and we did it successfully. So today, my role is to share the whole of government approach in dealing with a crisis, in dealing with a pandemic. Crime is a pandemic in Khayelitsha. Murder is a pandemic in Khayelitsha. There's no two-way about that. Now we are busy inside crafting the approach in dealing with this pandemic. And how do we see a response to this? And that is what we're going to be talking about.
If you can share maybe just an idea as to how do we see a resolution, because people or the residents of Khayelitsha, they want answers. We've been hearing or seeing ministers visiting the area. We've been seeing the KDF engaging government, local and provincial. So what is the approach?
As the community of Khayelitsha, because we are tasked to lead this intervention, with those that I will be working with, the approach is that local government, provincial government and national government, we need to stop this bickering and the blame game exercise. And there must be no politicization of the crime that affects all the people of this province. Whether you are national, province or local, we need to say to ourselves, how do we police our communities successfully, irrespective of the nature of community, whether it's an informal dwelling or whether it's a formal dwelling, whether it's affluent or poor or middle class. Now, the problem here is that when we deal with crime, we want to use other systems that have not been tested. Let us use the same system that we've used in COVID-19. That is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be mapping the crime hotspots. You hear this part. We know that crime happens there and it happens at this time. Police have that information, but there needs to be a political will, but also a sense of urgency, and eliminate bad elements in this approach. So once we map the areas and say this is where the crime is, it will help the communities to reclaim their streets and ensure that the neighborhood belong to the people themselves. We can never, and I repeat this, we can never and we will never allow criminals to control our communities. And this is about time that it stops, and it stops right now. And this is what we're trying to do now.
But we've seen the minister saying that every time there is a mass shooting, we are deploying more police. It's seeming like it's not working.
We don't want ministers to come here when there is another mass shooting. We want them to come and deploy resources that we want. We want more police in the streets, but also we need police to go where crime is the most. Where there is most crime, they must be there. There must be intervention. So our approach is going to help the police, because we are going to work with health, we are going to work with the whole of the law enforcement agency as a collective. That means all the law enforcement agencies, but also we'll work with the municipalities, which is the city of Cape Town in this case, but we'll work with the provincial government in this case, but we'll work with the national government, and that is the minister himself. But our approach is to ensure that all the resource, we're able to mobilize them in dealing decisively. Whether it's the VPUU, as we know in Khayelitsha, we've had the Manyanani Peace Park, and all of the lighting up communities so that it's not dark. Because when it's dark, that is where criminals think they can control our society. But we need people to come forward about those who are tormenting others. When you know that this is a criminal, this is somebody that has killed somebody, give that information. And we want the police to also give, platforms for anonymous calls to be made that will lead to successful conviction, and of course to ensure that people are able to spend their lives behind bars. My heartfelt condolences to the victims of the recent matters that led us to be here today, and we will not sit back and we will find solutions.
All right, thank you very much, Praten. That was the Speaker of the local parliament here in the Western Cape, Mr. Mayizole Mnqasela.